American soccer fans, welcome to episode number 138 of the USA Soccer Cast. We are bringing you everything about the U.S. national teams, the players, the leagues, and everything else that impacts the game of soccer in these United States. I'm Donald Wine, and we have an incredible interview for you today. In a few minutes, we will run the interview that I conducted just a little bit ago with Clint Dempsey. Yes, the U.S. men's national team legend. He was on to promote his work with DraftKings, where they are doing a promotion for all Euro and Copa semifinal matches, where you can do a risk-free bet on a team to win their match. We'll talk about that during the interview. But I also asked Deuce about the U.S. crashing out of the group stage at Copa America. How did it happen? What went wrong? Does he think U.S. soccer should move on from Greg Berhalter? There's a lot we can discuss with Clint over how this team can learn from the setback and make the improvements necessary to get ready for the 2026 World Cup. So, without further ado, here it is, an interview with Hall of Famer and U.S. men's national team legend, Clint Dempsey. We are joined by National Soccer Hall of Famer, U.S. national team legend, co-host of the Kicking It podcast on Paramount Plus, and currently an analyst for Fox Sports Copa America coverage. It's Clint Dempsey, y'all. Deuce, welcome to the USA Soccer Cast. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Clint's joining us on behalf of DraftKings. We're going to talk more about the work you're doing with them in a little bit. But first, we have to start with the U.S. crashing out in the group stage of Copa America. You've obviously been discussing it over the last couple of days. But in your mind, what went wrong for the United States in this tournament?
I mean, you got to find a way to get out of the group. So that's what went wrong. Not managing the Panama game correctly. I mean, you go a man down, so it's going to be difficult, but we still were able to get that goal. Conceded 4 minutes after that, which is worst case scenario, and then you got to figure out a way to see the game out. We went to a back five, 3 center backs in the back, and thought that was going to be enough to get that draw, and then lost a man on a cross, and they scored, and we lost, and then a mountain to climb going into Uruguay, where essentially it was a must-win game if Panama was able to win, and you got to score in those type of games, and we weren't able to score. So, yeah, frustrating not to get out of that group, especially being on home soil, and it kind of doesn't give you confidence going into the World Cup 2026 that we'll be able to do that if we couldn't get out of the group that we were in this time.
I know you've seen online and just general discourse, there's a lot of blame to be distributed, and you've no doubt seen Greg Berhalter receiving the brunt of it, at least from the fan base. Everyone's discussing. So I'll just ask you real quickly, do you think it's time to move on from him? And if so, who do you bring in at this point, knowing that we're less than 2 years away from the World Cup?
I mean, all I'll say on the situation is it's hard to trust somebody that wasn't able to get out of this group on home soil in a major tournament. So, and in terms of making decisions, you need to do a quick decision because we're running out of time. I thought it took too long to go through that process after the World Cup. Are we going to go back with Berhalter or find somebody new? They decided to go back with Berhalter and give him a chance to continue moving this group forward. And I thought that process took too long. And then here we are now. I think credit to the team qualifying for the World Cup in 2022, getting out of that group and looking like we were building towards something. But since then, I just haven't seen enough progress. And this is a huge step backwards, in my opinion, to be in a major tournament on a home soil and not get out of the group. So whatever U.S. soccer needs to do, they need to do it quickly and find someone or figure out a way that they're not going to be in this situation come 2026. We have to get out of the group, get this fan base, American fan base behind this team again, and try to do something special, because these are big moments, as you saw in '94. What that did for soccer in the U.S., having the professional league come about with MLS and kids being able to dream about playing professionally. So here's another huge opportunity. You need to make it count.
Absolutely. And fair on that. I think, when we talk about everything, right? I said, blame should be shared with a lot of people, but, we talked about the players, and you've called this group of players a golden generation. But as you mentioned, the progress just hasn't been there. What in your mind is missing from here? What can improve over the next couple of months to make it, tangibly visible to everyone that progress is still coming and progress still being generated?
I mean, getting results. In an ideal world, it's getting results and with a good style, right? I mean, most importantly is results, finding a way to to get it done. I mean, look at Canada. They haven't played the I wouldn't say they played the most exciting, but they've been able to get it done. They only scored one goal in group play. Were able to get out of the group. Then they play against Venezuela, a little bit more open, probably game than you're used to seeing them play. They could have had 3 goals in the first half. But they found a way to get it done. They're in the semifinal. So that's what this team needs. It needs results and strength of schedule. I think CONCACAF Nations League, Gold Cup, it's just you're playing too many of the same teams too often. You need to go outside of CONCACAF. You need to test yourself against bigger teams, playing more Copa Americas. I mean, I only played in one Copa America during my whole national team career. So I think that's important. Then if you're going to do CONCACAF Nations League or Gold Cup, just spread them out. Don't have them in the same year and don't have them every year. So, but yeah, results, man. You got to play against big teams and show them what's up. Being able to get out of the group, like against, I mean, the even look back at the last CONCACAF Nations League, we needed an own goal versus Jamaica to take us into overtime in that semifinal game. So, I mean, the best that I've seen this team play since 2022 in the World Cup would be when BJ Callahan took over and the way that they played against Canada and Mexico and Vegas. I mean, since then, it's just for me hasn't been that exciting, and the results haven't been there.
Well, back in the day, even before, you joined the national team, it felt like the U.S. national team style was kind of, the underdog style. And over the years, we've seen them going for more from an underdog team who didn't mind grinding out results, as we've kind of seen with Canada, to one that strives to be more appealing. Do you think that's the right direction, or do you, kind of wish for the days where we went into it with that underdog grinded out attitude where results was the only thing on the table?
Well, like you go back to saying the golden generation. I never dubbed this team the golden generation. It was a word that was used and we
Hmm.
described in terms of their age and what they were doing in Europe, the teams that they were playing on. The only thing that we kind of talk about is it's great that they're on players are playing for big clubs, but they need to be playing regularly, right? So whatever team that you're on, if you're not playing regularly, then I just think how are you going to be able to play at the highest level and be fully fit that when you come into the national team really make a difference. So um, I think you need to have a mentality of go out there and show everybody what's up, like that you should be respected, that you can play with the best in the world. I mean, you got to be compact defensively, be organized, but then you got to take risks, be brave. Don't be, can't be scared to make mistakes. So, I mean, that's the kind of style I want to see. But at the end of the day, it's about results as well and just finding a way. And so we just weren't able to find a way in this tournament, even though we dealt with some hard situations in terms of getting that early red card. But you still were in a great position with a 1-0 advantage to try to at least get a draw from that game, and we didn't get it done. First
Coming
penalty.
out of Yeah, going against coming out of Copa America, there's been talk about which players kind of comprise that best front six for the United States, and from your chair, obviously you've seen a lot of this team over the last couple of years, both on the CONCACAF level, Copa America, and beyond. Is there a group that you're looking at that kind of says, hey, this when this front three or front six are on the field, you kind of feel more confident about the results coming because it feels like with some of the rotations we end up with some of the same guys, but I feel like there's
Yeah.
a core group that's there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the positive that came from Copa America is I think the U.S. found their number 9 in Balogun.
Hmm.
I mean, he looked really good, was scoring goals. He was dangerous. He can create for himself. He can get on the end of things. He can shoot with both feet. He was able to get 2 goals, so that's a positive. But then you got to figure out, all right, you got him and Christian, and then it's whether you have Weah up there or Gio, or you want Gio in the middle, and then it's whether McKinney, Tyler Adams, and Musa is the best pairing, or is it Tyler Adams, McKinney, and Gio, and then it's just like what's up with everybody's fitness? Tyler Adams was only able to go 45 minutes in the first few games because he was on minutes restriction, and then in the last game you got to see him play more. And then where's everybody else at? I mean, Gio, if we can get him playing more regularly in Europe, week in and week out, and Musa as well, because you could see how Musa was when he was playing regularly and the impact he was able to make in the last World Cup with McKinney and Adams being that three in the middle. So it's tough to say like what's that best team because it all depends on if they're playing regularly with their club. And I'm not in training sessions to kind of see what's going on, but it's exciting about the possibility of this team and what they can do. And then as you get into the back, you have some questions you got to figure out, right? We had Dest hurt. Be good to get him back. And you got Anthony Robertson, who's done well for Fulham. And then you got center back pairing. How long can Tim Ream go? He's getting older now. And then got the Turner situation. He needs to be playing more regularly in Europe. So team has a lot of potential. If these guys can just kind of put it together, I think they could do something special.
Yeah, and I think, hopefully over the next couple of months as we approach the fall season or the start of the season in Europe, you'll see some of these guys get into some situations where they are on the field consistently. There's obviously a lot of questions moving forward about as this team gathers for the fall. There's a couple of friendlies, of course, then CONCACAF Nations League. Is there something that you think they should address the most and work on during these fall months? I know the results matter, but is there something within that that can lead to better results from these games against Canada, Panama, and New Zealand?
I mean, all you can go out there and do is beat the teams that are in front of you and that you're picked to play against, and do it in a confident manner, right? I think go out there and make a statement in every game that you have. I mean, that has to be the mindset, and try to get everybody believing again and pack these stadiums and get that excitement around the national team, because it's been tough, man, since 2018. Really, it's like you take one step forward, but then it's kind of two back, right? 2018 didn't qualify. It was a huge step in the wrong direction, and then got these guys qualifying for the World Cup in 2022. So you're looking like, okay, things are going good, and then to not get out of the group on home soil is a huge step back. So we got to figure out a way to get moving forward again.
So shifting gears quite a bit, I know you've been doing work with and partnering with DraftKings throughout Copa America and the Euros, and I know you've watched a lot of both. Tell the people more about the work you were doing with them and where they can check everything out.
Yeah, I mean, they're increasing fan engagement around the games and making and bringing excitement as we lead into, whether it's Copa Euros or leading into the 2026 World Cup, about how to be involved in the game and bet on it in a responsible way, right? So whatever increases fan engagement and gets excitement around soccer, I mean, I'm all for, as long as it's done responsibly.
Yeah, of course, and I will mention that you have a promotion going on with DraftKings where if you opt into a drawbreaker promotion, you just bet on the team to win their match, and you get your bet back as a bonus if the match ends in a draw. So obviously, check your states where you live for eligibility. But just to finish up with a couple of questions about you, you're one of my favorite players of all time. You're my favorite U.S. national men's player of all time, and what I loved about you was the fact that you besides the talent and the skill, you had swagger, you had no fear, and you had an attitude that just made you a guy that refused to lose. Is there somebody on the current national teams, men or women, that you think has the Deuce qualities? Is someone Deuce certified on one of these teams that you really enjoy watching?
There's a few guys I like watching on the national team. I feel like a big brother to Christian, because when I was going out, he had kind of come in and was doing his thing with the U.S. team, and happy to see how far that he's come and continues to do. But I didn't get a chance to play with McKinney, who's also from Texas, and kind of you always kind of feel connected to people who are from where you're from. And then you have Gio, who lost a loved one at a young age, like me. Um, I lost my sister at when I was 12. She was 16, and then he lost a brother. So I connect with him on that. And then, Tyler Adams, I think he's a dog too, like how he plays and goes out there, doesn't back down, and gives everything and makes the most of kind of what he has. So there's a lot of guys that I can relate with and want them to do well. And at the end of the day, like I want my kids to be excited about the US team and watch them and aspire to kind of get on that level. So that's what we're doing when we're at home, you know. So it's bittersweet, right? There's been some good moments and bad moments, but hopefully there's some good moments more ahead, more good moments ahead.
You know, the last question I have for you, your story, obviously coming from Nacogdoches to the international stage, is one that many aspire to. Is there one moment in your mind that that you consider the moment that you hope people point back as they tell your story of success?
Oh man, shoot, there's a few moments. I mean, life. A thing that let me know that life was short. Make the most of it. My sister passed away. Um, just the sacrifices that my parents made for me to even play club ball, driving 3 hours one way, 3 hours back, was that anything less than my best would be a slap in their face. So recognizing that at a young age, and then not getting picked for things, not making teams, whether it was regional teams, national teams, whatever, having that chip on my shoulder, and no matter who I went up against, whether it was domestically or foreign, that I was going to be respected. I was going to show them what I was about and didn't care what people had done before. It's about what we're going to do today. So I think that's kind of things that helped me make the most of my career and not look back and have any regrets.
And I will say it's something that continues to follow you as you do your analysis for both Paramount Plus and Fox Sports. Clint Dempsey, the greatest American men's soccer player ever in my mind. It's an honor to have you on the show. Thanks for the time, and looking forward to seeing your continued impact on the game down the line. And hope you enjoy the rest of Copa America and the Euros.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Hey everyone, are you looking for the latest gear for your U.S. national teams, Major League Soccer, the NWSL, or any other team in the world of soccer? The USA Soccercast has affiliate partnerships that are ready to help you out. Head to linktree.com/USA Soccercast, where we have links to Homage, Fanatics, the MLS store, and Breaking Team. You can get the jersey, shirt, hat, or accessory you're looking for to support your team, while also saving some money and helping this show in the process. Again, linktree.com/USA Soccercast. Click on the links and get your gear. And we thank you as always for your support of the show. We are back, and first off, thanks again to Clint Dempsey for coming on the show. It was incredible to chat with him and to get his take on everything that's going on. First off, one thing he mentioned was about Greg Berhalter and whether U.S. soccer should move on from him. And you can tell the passion that he still has for the team, and he knows that they missed out on a prime chance to bring in new fans. He wants U.S. soccer to make a quick decision and stick with it, and I agree. I definitely understand why the decision wasn't made over the weekend. It was the 4th of July. I wasn't expecting them to pull in half of the Federation staff to handle the fallout from a potential coaching change, and people need to understand that was never happening. But now, it's a new week. The Olympic rosters are announced. That was yesterday. We'll talk about that in another show. The media day, which was already planned months ago, is now done. Now it's time to make a decision. If you're going to let Greg Berhalter go, you can't have an interim. If he ain't the coach, who will it be? We're in a race against time to get ready. We don't have many windows left to get the guys together and implement whatever plan you may have for the World Cup. So it's time to do it now. Another thing that stuck out to me is the fact that you have guys that aren't playing consistently for their clubs, whether it be due to injury or due to just not being in the main starting 11. There are several guys who need to get healthy and be in the right club situations where they can be playing regularly and still have that fight to develop and improve. And that's what Deuce pointed out. Can Gio Reyna find a new club this summer? Will Weston McKennie move on from Juventus? Will Matt Turner stick it out at Nottingham Forest, or will he move on? All questions as we progress into the summer, and that's not counting the guys who are either coming back from injury or are currently injured. Just a lot of questions surrounding where these players end up playing. There's still guys moving from Major League Soccer over to Europe or moving within Europe, and we'll see how the summer transfer window unfolds. I like that Deuce thinks that Battle is the number 9 that we need. I thought he played pretty well, was one of the bright spots for the team during the tournament, and would love to see him come back. Hopefully, he's not super injured from the Uruguay match, and he can come back and thrive over in France. And finally, Deuce's comments on the U.S. needing to play better teams caught my attention. I think we all agree that the U.S. would be better served by playing some of the top competition out there and learning from those matches and getting better. He singled out CONCACAF Nations League, and y'all know I absolutely love that tournament. But the issue is not that tournament, in my mind. The issue is that the number of friendlies that are available are very few, or they're against terrible teams. I know San Marino's available, but that's not the type of competition that will help our team get better. We got to play the teams in front of us, but Europe has hamstrung the rest of the world with their Nations League and Euro qualifying and World Cup qualifying. Those competitions around the world really preclude these good teams from being available. Africa Cup of Nations qualifying, Asian Cup qualifying, CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying is over 2.5 years long. The U.S. has to figure out a way to get the best teams in the remaining windows to come play us, or let's go to them. We need to play more teams in Africa. We need to play more teams in Asia, in addition to the main powers in Europe and South America, to really get a good assessment of what we need to do, which is to go toe-to-toe with some of these elite teams and actually win. It's easier said than done. I know Deuce knows that, but we agree that finding some quality teams to play over the next 2 years is essential. But again, I really enjoy the conversation. I loved what Clint Dempsey is doing on TV with Fox Sports and Paramount Plus. His analysis is what we need more of on our TV sets as we move forward. That will do it for episode 138 of the USA Soccer Cast. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to follow us on Twitter, and we're on YouTube as well. Find us on both at USA Soccer Cast. Subscribe, rate, and review our episodes. It really helps and is greatly appreciated. Don't forget, we have affiliate programs with a ton of places to get you the gear you love and help you travel to see your favorite teams play or watch them from the comfort of your home. Head to our Linktree, linktree.com/USA Soccercast to learn more. Click the links to all of these sites and support the show in the process. And finally, we have our stimulus store. We got the gear you need to be ready for this summer and for the fall, so you should get on that. We'll talk to you again soon, y'all. Peace.